Hi, it's Rachel here from Life on Her Terms. I just wanted to record something given the time that we are in at the moment. There is so much crazy news stories at the moment, particularly about what's happening in the US. You may not know me, but I am an American who lives currently in Australia. I've also lived in the UK. I've traveled quite a bit, but I'm originally from a place called Milledgeville, Georgia. America is my home. I'm lucky to have many homes, but the truth is I am still American, and I am not a political person by any means, but I am someone who felt inspired to say something. It has been so hard watching the news and trying to process what is happening at the moment. And I guess I just wanted to reflect what I've been feeling. And hopefully this will be of encouragement to some of you who may be feeling the same way. Because the truth is, I couldn't really sleep at one point. My peace was totally disturbed. I don't know if you can relate to that, but I just wanted to come on here and just remind you of how to keep your inner peace when the world is going mad. So I have about 4 strategies, which I hope will be of help. Number 1, everything is temporary, the good and the bad. And from a historical perspective, it's really hard to see where these things are going to end up on the history books and go, how can I even compare it to what's going on? We are in a very interesting time, very sad time, but at the same time, you need to remember everything is temporary, the good and the bad, night and day. And if you're going to accept the good that God gives us and allows us to have, we've got to accept the bad times as well, but know that it is temporary. Number 2, expect disappointment from your leaders. It's really hard when, we've built these structures around democracy and all these incredible foundations, and there's so much incredible good that people have built, but the truth is, even leaders are only human. This does not dismiss or make okay any of the bad or immoral decisions that have been made. This is not me saying I agree or disagree with any of it. That's not what this is about. This is about saying that everyone is imperfect. Everyone will disappoint us. The only person and the only leader who cannot and will not is God himself. And you've got to believe that joy will come in the morning. You have to believe that people are inherently good and that we honestly want good for people as people. And I believe that if you honestly just look to the person who's really in charge, then it gives you back that peace that really feels like it's just being so challenged at the moment. So that's number 2. Expect disappointment from people. If you've been in any type of relationship or career, or, job or business, people do disappoint you, but God never does. Number 3, I think we started this year with such hope and expectation that it would be so different from the year before. And in some ways, it's so nice to have a new chapter, a new year, a new beginning. But I have to say, maybe going back to normal was never part of the plan. And I think this time more than ever, when every structural foundation has been shaken with us, whether it be health, the economy, jobs, working from home, like having to homeschool, like everyone has been impacted some way in the last year. And right now, it's almost like people are going, and this, what do we do with this right now? But I just want to say this, going back to normal may not have been part of the plan. And maybe it's time we say, what are we meant to learn here? What are we personally and corporately and as a community what are we meant to understand here? Because I have to say, there was some really hard times for me personally last year, but there was also some kind of awakening. An awakening that said, maybe, just maybe, I'm not meant to be spending as much time doing this as I should have been. Maybe my priorities were a little bit askew. Maybe there's more that I can be focusing on that will give us more purpose and joy. And maybe doing things just because everyone else does them isn't the way to go. So I just want you to really think, what does my normal look like? What do I need it to look like? And what does God want it to look like? And then number 4, last but not least, it's time to go back to your spiritual foundation. I don't know what your faith walk is. I don't know what your faith journey is. But I'm reminded of my very first preacher back in my hometown of Milledgeville, Georgia. His name was Reverend Wendell Thomas. And it did not matter what crisis was happening to us, whether it be personally or corporately or, nationally. He would say the same thing. Keep your eyes on Jesus and everything's going to be all right. At a time right now when our peace is so disturbed because we have no control in many ways, uncertainty everywhere around us. but you can trust the person who gives you the real peace of this world. And I'm also going to say, because I am from the South, I go back to some of the icons who always knew what to say at times that just felt so distressing and uncomfortable. And I love the character of Atticus Finch. I like to believe that Atticus is a combination of some of the best men that Harper Lee knew, including her father. But one of my favorite quotes that he says in To Kill a Mockingbird is, "I wanted you to see what real courage is. Instead of getting the idea that courage is a man with a gun in his hand, it's when you know you're licked before you begin, but you begin anyway, and you see it through no matter what. You rarely win, but sometimes you do." I don't know what your definition of courage is, but sometimes it's just to keep showing up. Sometimes right now, I think it's just to keep showing up at your job and to keep showing up for your family and to keep your peace when times are so uncertain, because only you can control that. Only you can actually take steps towards that peace. And in John 16:33, it says, "I have told you these things so that in me you may have peace. In this world you will have trouble, but take heart. I have overcome the world." Jesus has overcome everything that we are experiencing in this moment. It is not too big for him. It is not a surprise for him. Go back to your spiritual foundation. It's really hard to comprehend what's happening right now in America and the world. But when you remember who's in charge of it all, it brings you back to the peace that we were guaranteed from the very beginning. It doesn't matter what's happening in the world. You, however, can have peace in knowing who's in charge. All right, have an amazing day. Lots of love. And if you like this video, please subscribe so you can get more inspirational content in the future.